Chair, you have the floor.
The meeting is called to order. Honorable EB members, member states representatives, Director General and team, colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Hiroki Nakatani, outgoing chair of the Executive Board. It is with pleasure that I declare the 147th session of the Executive Board open. In the context of the restrictions imposed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and through a written silence procedure, the Executive Board has approved for the arrangement for a virtual session. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I think I have sang a song, so should I repeat? I don't think it's necessary. I will continue. The Executive Board has approved the arrangement for a virtual session of the Executive Board to be held using video conference technology. The session will only consider an abridged version of the provisional agenda. Before turning to the first item on election of chair, vice chairs, and rapporteur, we have two business to deal with. Firstly, we shall take up the draft decision contained in document EB 147/11 concerning the special procedures to regulate the conduct of this virtual session of the Executive Board. As you recall, the special procedures were developed by the Secretariat in consultation with the board members and other member states. They have been circulated in advance and discussed informally at several times with some member states' briefings. During such a process, I have heard no objection. Therefore, I think it should be okay with this board. But to make 100% sure, I wish to formally ask if the board ready to adopt the draft decision contained in document EB 147/11. Let me repeat. Is the board ready to adopt the draft decision contained in document EB 147/11? I am not recognizing any request of the floor, so I see. Excuse me. I think there is some difference, so I think. All right. So I'm confirming with the Secretariat that there should be no request to take the floor, and so I see no objection. The decision is therefore adopted. Thank you. Before turning to the first item of the agenda, I have another business. I'd like to refer to the email sent earlier today by the Secretariat to the Executive Board members regarding the question of the designation of the Executive Board members for Guinea-Bissau. In the circumstance described in this mail, I propose that the matter of the designation of the Executive Board members from Guinea-Bissau be considered by the Executive Board as necessary at its resumed session later in 2020. Is this proposal acceptable to the Executive Board? It seems there is no objection, so it is decided. We shall now proceed to the first item on election of chair, vice chairs, and rapporteur. That is item 1. Rule 13 of the Rules of Procedures of the Board applies and reads as follows. The Board shall elect its officers, a chair, 4 vice chairs, and 1 rapporteur from among its members each year at its first session after the Health Assembly, following a principle of rotation among geographical regions. These officers shall hold office until their successors are elected. The chair shall not become eligible for re-election until 2 years have elapsed since he or she ceased to hold office. This is the rule. In this regard, following the principle of rotation among geographical WHO regions, which the Executive Board has followed for many years, the chair of the Executive Board this time should be chosen from among delegates of members of the Southeast Asia region. Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Science and Technology, and Earth Sciences of India, has been nominated for the office of Chair of the Executive Board. May I take it that the Board is in agreement with this nomination? Since I see no objection, it is so decided. Dr. Harsh Vardhan is therefore elected as chair of the board. I am pleased to offer my congratulations on this election. At this juncture, allow me to make short personal remarks. In the past 12 months, the board has worked very hard. We established a new working method to facilitate active and focused discussion in this room. This enabled us to deal with nearly 60 agenda items at the 146th session of the Executive Board in February 2020. Our recommendations will be discussed in the inter-session and the resumed session of the World Health Assembly. During my service, all EB members, WC Secretariat, and my own country team helped me. Without their effort, I could not have functioned well. Also, it is a rather unusual for a Japanese man to say, but I wish to express my thanks to my wife, who discouraged me from overeating under stress. I thank you all. Our fight against COVID-19 continues, and the battlefront is not only hospitals, but also research labs and elsewhere to find new approaches for humanities to successfully control this virus. History has taught us that large epidemics trigger structural changes and new mindsetting of people. The HIV/AIDS epidemic in 2000 led us to the creation of Global Fund. The SARS epidemic in 2003 led to IHR. H1N1 epidemic in 2009 to the PIP framework, and Ebola epidemic in 2014 to the creation of WHO emergency program. WHO must remain in the center of gravity for the ongoing and forthcoming big discussion. To do this, the role of the board is huge, since I believe that the legitimacy of WHO comes from good governance. During hectic times, one may be tempted to think lightly of this aspect, but for the long run, we must resist bypassing these fundamental elements. I have full trust on the proven leadership of Dr. Harsh Badhan, a leader in political figures and outstanding medical professions to lead the board to the next level of excellence. Finally, I would like to close my remarks by thanking again all members of the board, including outgoing members, fellow bureau members, feedback chair and vice chair, and DG Tedros for their support and guidance to me as chair over the last 12 months. Thank you. Merci. Gracias. Spasiba. Shukran. Sheshe. And arigatou gozaimashita. Now I move to complete my duty, that is to invite Dr. Harsh Badhan to take the chair.
バングラが手を挙げてみたいなので、
Excuse me.
何か意図があるか確認。
Excuse me. I recognize the I was informed that Bangladesh would like to take the floor. Would you like to do now?
Just to make my statement, I wanted to know when can I make my statement, and I also express my from ourselves, from Bangladesh, congratulations to Harshvardhan for taking the chair. So just I will be interested to know when we can make this statement on behalf of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Bangladesh. My proposal is that I am inviting Dr. Harshvardhan to take the chair. So I think after he's settled, my proposal for Bangladesh to express your, I think, best wishes for him. That is very appropriate. Is it agreeable for you?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think I would conclude that I would like to wish every success for the new chair, and namaste.
Chair, you have the floor.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Let me begin by thanking the outgoing chairperson of the WHO Executive Board, Dr. Hiroki Nakatani, for steering the organization towards excellence. Thank you, Dr. Nakatani. I wish you all the best in all your future endeavors. Distinguished members of WHO, Executive Board, Director General of WHO, Excellencies, representatives of member nations, all regional directors, heads and representatives of UN agencies and partner organizations, and staff of WHO. This moment fills my heart with joy, one in which I yearn to rise in response to the warm and cordial honor which you all have bestowed upon me. And yet, at the same time, my heart feels heavy with grief as more than 330,000 precious lives have been lost and there is economic turbulence all over the world. Before I start my address, let me pay my homage to the hundreds of thousands who have lost their lives. My heartfelt condolences to those families across the world who have lost their near and dear ones to this deadly pandemic COVID-19. As a doctor by profession, it hurts me even more that despite great strides in science and medicine, we are still at the mercy of tiny pathogens. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel deeply honored to have the trust and faith of all of you. India and all my countrymen too feel privileged that this honor has been bestowed upon us. I have had a long personal association with WHO. I was privileged to come in contact with the organization way back in the early 90s during the initial years of my public life, when I was personally spearheading many missions in which we journeyed together and built an emotional bond. I have nostalgic memories of the WHO team with whom I worked very closely during my mission to eradicate poliomyelitis from India. I had the privilege to be appointed to prestigious committees of the WHO like SAGE and the Global Technical Consultative Group on Polio Eradication. I even served as an advisor to the organization, and I confess that if it had not been for the support and morale boosting by friends in WHO, I would not have delivered and achieved what I did. If today polio stands eradicated from India, I must admit it could never have been possible without the perseverance of WHO. Excellencies, I am aware that I am entering this office at a time of global crisis on account of this pandemic, at a time when we are fighting to simply stay alive, and at a time when we all understand that there are going to be many urgent health challenges in the next 2 decades. All these challenges demand a shared response because these are shared threats requiring shared responsibility to act. And of course, this is also the core philosophy of our alliance of member nations that comprise WHO. However, it needs a greater degree of shared idealism of nations. Friends, I have long nurtured a dream. It is about the health of my fellow citizens of the world. And I believe that health is central to economic performance and to enhancing human capabilities. However, public health policy must be based and guided on a proper understanding of nature. This is also the underlying principle of the Indian traditional systems of medicine based on holistic health and wellness, which I have lived and experienced. I have also the privilege of being the Health Minister of India, a country of 1.35 billion people. Led by a dynamic Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, we have devised an ambitious national health policy that aims at universal health for all. Our flagship health initiative called Ayushman Bharat aims at providing free health insurance to over 500 million people, making it the world's largest health insurance scheme. And we dream of making it bigger, ensuring it for each and every Indian. If a developing nation like India can dream of this level of health for all policy, the rest of the world has to think beyond this. When India decides, it performs. We eradicated smallpox and polio in our country at a time when there was abject poverty. More recently, we faced the threat of COVID-19 in a proactive and preemptive way with unmatched scale and determination. Today, we have a mortality of 3% only. In a country of 1.35 billion, there are only 0.1 million cases of COVID-19. The recovery rate is above 40% and the doubling rate is 13 days. We have to admit that the current pandemic has demonstrated the vulnerability of humankind to exigencies, recognizing that we have to strive to act with greater speed and predictability. The pandemic has made humanity acutely aware of the consequences of ignoring the strengthening and preparedness of our healthcare systems. In such times of global crisis, both risk management and mitigation would require further strengthening of global partnerships to energize interest and investment in global public health. We also need to make higher commitments in respect of diseases that have plagued humankind for centuries. We need to conquer the adversaries with collaborations and by supplementing each other by pooling our resources. We need an aggressive roadmap to curtail deaths from diseases that can be eliminated. We need a fresh roadmap to address global shortages of medicines and vaccines. I would like to work with all of you on these goals and roadmaps. My personal motto is to protect the health of those without wealth. That is also one of the core philosophies of WHO. Propelled by the great history of the organization, WHO, and having been bestowed this honor of taking over as the chairman of the executive board, I ask myself, what more can we do together? In some respects, I am a votary of self-healing. I feel that we need to introspect and see what reforms we can undertake from time to time. There are fault lines in almost any health system. WHO is already providing thought leadership to the entire world in the sphere of public health, engaging in partnerships where joint action is needed, shaping the research agenda, and stimulating the dissemination of valuable knowledge. WHO believes in the principle that the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health is one of the fundamental rights of every human being without distinction of race, religion, political belief, economic or social condition. We therefore commit to work with the member states, the organization, and the global community of partners for the efficient, effective, and responsive discharge of public health obligations. There is always scope as well as the need to catalyze further change. It is that fundamental belief which will be our guiding principle. Friends, today has been a great honor for me. With this personal honor, I also feel a deep sense of personal responsibility. I am sure that constant engagement with member states and other stakeholders will reinforce reforms and help accelerate progress towards achieving sustainable development goals and universal health coverage with the most productive, efficient, and targeted utilization of resources. I will put myself to work to realize the collective vision of our organization, to build the collective capacity of all our member nations, and also build a heroic collective leadership. I may or may not get there, but I can surely try. and I promise to try my best, for I am an eternal optimist. Excellencies, before taking leave of this August gathering, may I ask you all to give a standing ovation to all those frontline health workers who are risking their lives for the rest of the world, for our doctors, for our nurses, for our paramedics, for our hospital and sanitation staff, for our journalists, for our airport and security personnel, and for our army, police and paramilitary forces, and all those mothers of the COVID warriors who let their children take the risk of stepping out. We salute their dignity, their determination, and their dedication. Give them a standing ovation, my friends, by clapping loud and clear, by wishing them good luck and good health. I seek your love, your association, and your cooperation in my future endeavors at the WHO. Many thanks once again to all of you. Now I'd like to invite our dear Dr. Tedros, the DG of World Health Organization, to please provide his opening remarks and his words of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Dr. Nakatani, Dr. Vardhan, distinguished members of the Executive Board, first of all, I would like to say welcome to this first virtual meeting of the WHO Executive Board. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Nakatani for his service as chair of the board over the past year, for his excellent leadership. Dr. Nakatani, you're a true friend to WHO and a true servant of public health. Arigato gozaimasu, my brother. I would also like to congratulate and welcome Dr. Vardhan on his election as the new chair. Namaste, Dr. Vardhan. You have a tough act to follow, but I am sure you will do it with the same energy and commitment as Dr. Nakatani. And I was so happy to hear you in your opening remark, and I can see your readiness and your commitment. So congratulations again, and look forward to working with you very, very closely. And I would like also to join you in paying homage to those who lost their lives, and also in appreciating our health workers who are saving lives while risking their life. And you said it in the best way, so thank you so much for your statement and the to the frontline health workers. I would also like to welcome the new vice chairs and rapporteur and the new members of the executive board. And I look forward to working with all of you. As you know, this week we concluded an unusual but very important World Health Assembly. Member states came together to pass a historic resolution on our collective response to COVID-19. Today, I would like to take just a few minutes to summarize very briefly WHO's work on COVID-19 in 7 areas: leadership, analysis, communication, supplies, expertise, research, and preparedness. First, leadership. Since the beginning of the pandemic, WHO has worked day and night to coordinate the global response at all 3 levels of the organization, providing technical advice, catalyzing political solidarity, mobilizing resources, coordinating logistics, and much more. In early February, WHO published our strategic preparedness and response plan, giving countries specific and concrete measures to prevent, detect, and respond to transmission of COVID-19. We updated the plan earlier this month with an estimate that WHO will require $1.7 billion to fund our response to COVID-19 this year. So far, almost $800 million has been pledged or received, leaving a gap of just over $900 million. With the United Nations Foundation and the Swiss Philanthropy Foundation, we launched the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund, which has so far raised more than $214 million from more than 375,000 individuals, corporations, and foundations. And thank you so much to all who have contributed. Second, analysis. Throughout the pandemic, we have monitored, analyzed, and assessed trends and provide advice at the global, regional, and country level, and we will continue to do so. Third, communication. We have developed risk communications tools for parents and children, health workers, employers, faith-based organizations, and more. We have held more than 50 press briefings, and we have convened weekly member state briefings to create a platform for countries to share experiences and ask questions. And to fight the infodemic, we have worked with multiple tech partners, including Facebook, Google, Instagram, LinkedIn, Messenger, Pinterest, Snapchat, Tencent, TikTok, Twitter, Viber, WhatsApp, YouTube, and more. I'd like to thank all these tech industries for their support in fighting infodemic. Fourth, supplies. WHO has shipped millions of diagnostic tests and tons of personal protective equipment to more than 120 countries, and we will ship much more in the weeks ahead. In Africa, WHO and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention work together to expand testing capacity for COVID-19 from just 2 countries to 44. Fifth, expertise. We published our first comprehensive package of guidance for COVID-19 on the 10th of January. And since then, we have issued almost 100 technical documents. We have constantly updated and adapted that guidance to make it applicable in the local context. We have also provided online training for more than 2.6 million health workers with 10 courses in 25 languages through our openwho.org training platform. Sixth, research. In early February, WHO convened more than 400 researchers from around the world to identify research priorities. We're tracking more than 700 clinical trials globally, and in March, we launched the Solidarity Trial to generate data quickly about which treatments were the most effective. More than 3,000 patients have been enrolled in 17 countries. Last month, WHO joined forces with President Macron, President Ursula von der Leyen, and Melinda Gates to launch the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator to scale up the production, distribution, and equitable access to vaccines, diagnostics, and therapeutics. 10 days later, the European Commission hosted a historic pledging event at which world leaders from more than 40 countries pledged $8 billion for research into these life-saving tools. Seventh, preparedness. Since the first cases were reported, we have worked day and night to prepare countries to prevent, detect, and respond rapidly to the arrival of cases. In collaboration with the International Maritime Organization, the International Air Transport Association, and the International Civil Association Organization, we have developed technical guidance for ports, airports, and ground crossings. We have also established the COVID-19 Partners Platform to match country needs with resources. So far, more than 125 countries are actively using the platform, and 50 donors have entered their contributions. As you can see, WHO has been extremely active, and we will continue to do everything in our power to support countries, suppress transmission, and save lives. At the same time, we're working to ensure our other work continues as much as possible. From the beginning, I asked our Deputy Director General, Dr. Susanna Jacob, to continue focusing on leading our other work on universal health coverage and healthy populations. I'm glad to report that, so far, the majority of that work is continuing as normal. As you know, the world was already off track of the 3 billion targets and the Sustainable Development Goals, and there is no question that the pandemic threatens to set us back even further. That makes our task even bigger, and we must all redouble our efforts as a global community. Once again, thank you all for your service and solidarity. I look forward to working with you to advance our shared mission to promote health, keep the world safe, and serve the vulnerable. I thank you.
Tedros, for all your good wishes and a very comprehensive account of the World Health Assembly activities, and also your advice to all the members. We will always look forward to your advice and guidance all the time. We shall now continue our consideration of the item 1. That was the election of chair, vice chairs, and the rapporteur. Following the principle of rotation, 4 vice chairs shall be elected from the following regions: the African region, the Americas region, the Eastern Mediterranean region, the European region, and the Western Pacific region. I understand that further to consultation in the respective regions, nominations for vice chairs of the executive board have been made as follows: Dr. J. Wekesa Masasavi of Kenya, Ms. Volda Lawrence of Guyana, Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Al Saidi of Oman, Dr. Bjorn Kummel of Germany. Are these nominations acceptable? Since there are no other nominations, I declare them elected as vice chairs of the executive board, and I congratulate all of them on their election. According to para 2 of the Rule 17 of the Rules of Procedure provides that if the chair is unable to act in between sessions, one of the vice chairs shall act in his place. The order in which the vice chair shall be requested to serve shall be determined by a lot at the session at which the election takes place. I shall now proceed to draw the lot. The first lot is Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Al Sadi of Oman. The second, Vice President Dr. J. Wekesa Masasabi of Kenya. Mr. Björn Hummel of Germany. And of course, finally, Ms. Volda Lawrence of Guyana. According to the lot, and in case of my being unable to act in between sessions, the Vice Chair shall act in the following order. I'll repeat again. Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Al Sadi of Oman, Dr. J. Wekesa Masasabi of Kenya, Dr. Björn Hummel of Germany, and Ms. Volda Lawrence of Guyana. I express my heartfelt congratulations to all the vice chairs. Now we move to the election of the rapporteur. According to Rule 13 of the Rules of Procedure, we will now elect one rapporteur, and following the principle of rotation among geographical WHO regions, that nomination shall be from the Western Pacific region. I understand that Dr. Amelia Afua Amango Tui Ulotu from Tonga has been nominated as the rapporteur. Is this nomination acceptable? As there is only one nomination, I declare Dr. Amelia Afua Amango Tui Ulotu of Tonga elected as rapporteur. Congratulations, Dr. Amelia Afua Amango Tui Ulotu. Now we will turn to agenda 2 and adopt our agendas. The relevant documents are Provisional Agenda Abridged contained in document EB 147/1 add 1, Provisional Agenda contained in document EB 147/1 and Provisional Agenda annotated contained in document EB 147/1 annotated. While we are considering the adoption of both the Provisional Agenda and the Provisional Abridged Agenda, this session will only consider the items on the abridged version of the Provisional Agenda contained in document EB 147/1 add 1. Are there any comments on the abridged agenda contained in document EB 147/1 add 1? Do I take it that the board agrees with the provisional abridged agenda as amended? As I see no objection, it is so decided. I now ask Tonga to take the floor, please. Are there any comments on the provisional agenda contained in document EB 147/1 and the provisional annotated agenda contained in document EB 147/1? Yes. I can see Tonga there. Tonga, do you wish to speak on the agenda? If not, then please put your hand down. So it is so decided. So do I take it that the board agrees with the provisional agenda as amended? As I see no objection, it is so decided. As you know, this is the first time that the board has met virtually. I thank you for your patience as we adapt to this new method of work. The board will meet briefly today to consider a limited number of procedural items. At the end of today's session, we will consider a draft decision to suspend the 147th session of the Executive Board and resume later in the year to take up the rest of the items on the agenda. During that time, we will have the opportunity to have a full discussion, including on the outcomes of the Health Assembly. I would like to encourage board members to reserve their statements for the resumed session and deal only with the procedural matters on the abridged agenda. Should any delegation wish to do so, they may send their written statements under this agenda item to the Secretariat at statements@who.int for posting on the website and inclusion in the official records of the meeting. This is the process that was used during the World Health Assembly also. If any member state wishes to exercise the right of reply on any written statement, they have 10 working days to do so in writing. I would also like to draw your attention to the 3 remaining items on our agenda for today. Item 5.5, Committees of the Executive Board, filling of vacancies. Item 8, future sessions of the Board and Health Assembly. And item 9, closure of the session. As we turn to each of the draft decisions under these agenda items, I will ask if the board is ready to adopt the decision. Should a delegation raise its hand on the virtual platform, then I will understand that the delegation is not ready to adopt the decision, and I will give the delegation the floor to raise any questions or concerns about the draft decision. I will have to consult virtually with the Secretariat that is moderating the session from Geneva to know if any hands have been raised. Does the board agree to proceed in this way? I see no objections. Thank you. Before moving to the next item, I understand that Germany would like to take the floor. Germany, please have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished DG colleagues, I have the pleasure to speak on behalf of the European Union and its member states. The European Union works closely with the World Health Organization on a wide range of subjects, both within the European region and on a global level. As agreed in the exchange of letters of 2000 between the WHO and the European Commission concerning the consolidation and intensification of cooperation, and without prejudice to any future conclusion of a general agreement between the WHO and the European Union delegation attends the meetings of the Executive Board as observer. As in previous EB meetings, we asked the Executive Board to kindly agree that the European Union delegation be also invited to attend and participate without vote in the deliberations of the meetings of its committees and subcommittees, drafting groups, or other subdivisions thereof, addressing matters falling within Union competence in the 147th session of the Executive Board. I thank you.
Item 2. Let us now turn to item 5.5, committees of the Executive Board. That's about filling of vacancies. A report by the Secretariat contained in document EB 147/8 presents a table showing the members who will remain on the Executive Board following the 73rd World Health Assembly in May 2020 and the vacancies to be filled on each committee. If it also deals with the appointment of representatives of the board to the resumed session of the 73rd World Health Assembly and the 74th World Health Assembly, and the appointment of the ex officio members of the Program, Budget and Administration Committee of the Executive Board. Document EB 147/8 Add 1 shows my proposals for filling these vacancies. Let us consider each committee separately. There are 6 vacancies to be filled on the program. Budget and Administration Committee, which is composed of 14 members, 2 from each region, and selected from among board members, plus the chairman and a vice chairman of the board ex officio. Does the board agree with my proposals as contained in paragraph 2 of the document EB 147/8 add 1? I see no objection. It is so decided. There are 2 vacancies to be filled on the foundation committees. Does the board agree with the proposals put forward in document EB 147/8 add 1? I see no objection. It is so decided. Let us now consider the representatives of the Executive Board at the resumed session of the 73rd World Health Assembly and the 74th World Health Assembly. I would like to propose that the board be represented by the chair and the first 3 vice chairs. If any of them is not available for the Health Assembly, the other vice chair and or the rapporteur could be asked to represent the board. Does the board agree to this proposal? Does Colombia want to comment? Thank you. So I see no objection. It is so decided. That concludes our consideration of agenda item 5.5. Let us now turn to item 8, future sessions of the Executive Board and the Health Assembly. We shall now consider item number 8. A report by the Secretariat is contained in document EB 147/10. It contains 3 draft decisions in paragraph 6 related to the dates of the upcoming Executive Board and Health Assembly. I shall give the floor to the Director of Governing Bodies, Dr. Timothy Armstrong, to explain the next steps in the process for the draft provisional agenda of the 148th session of the Executive Board. Dr. Armstrong, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Chairperson. According to Rule 8 of the EB Rules of Procedure, the Director General shall draw up the draft provisional agenda for each session of the Board within 4 weeks of closure of its previous session. As indicated in document EB 147/10 on future sessions of WHA and EB, the EB 148 draft provisional agenda will be circulated to Member States within 4 weeks after this May meeting of the Board. That is 4 weeks from today. Member States will have approximately 12 weeks after circulation of the draft provisional agenda to propose additional agenda items for inclusion on the agenda. The Director General and the officers of the Board will meet to review the proposals during the autumn and draw up the provisional agenda. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Dr. Armstrong. With regard to the first draft decision in paragraph 6 of the document EB 147/10, does the Board agree that its 148th session should be convened on Monday, 1st February 2021 at WHO headquarters in Geneva and should close no later than Tuesday, 9th February 2021? I can see Germany wants to comment.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you. Allow me to come in on the draft decision one, the next on the schedule of the 148th session of the board. In this regard, I speak on behalf of the EU and its member state. We had a debate on when the next board meeting should take place, and I'd like to draw your attention to 3 points. The first one is that usually the board in the start of the year meets in January. For the first time ever in this year, we started in February, which brought us to a challenge that the time in between the board meeting and the assembly afterwards was very, very reduced. In this specific case, this year, it didn't seem to be such a major challenge because we had a virtual assembly with only one agenda item. But it would have been a major challenge with 56 agenda items overall. The next year will be a special year. We will have, the EB will have to discuss the next program budget in very specific circumstances. And we believe that we will need sufficient time in between the board and the May assembly in order to further discuss potentially the draft program budget. Plus, it is already now predictable that we will have an intensive debate about lessons learned and emergency reform coming up. And also that needs proper consultation in between the board's meeting in January and in May. And therefore, we have severe concerns regarding the proposed dates, so late dates for the EB, and we believe it's essential to shift the dates for the EB for the to start in mid of January, 2 weeks before, or maybe only 1 week before. We were rather astonished by this late proposal which came yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Germany. You seem to have provided a very valid and logical reason. Are there any further comments on this particular agenda? I can see that Oman wants to comment. Oman, please.
Good afternoon to all of you from Muscat, and firstly, congratulations to you, Mr. Chair of EB, and great thanks and gratitude to Dr. Tedros and his team for the effort they've been doing in fighting Corona, and our hearts and thoughts with you all. I would propose also on behalf of the Eastern Mediterranean region what my colleague from Germany said. Probably it should be brought 2 weeks earlier. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oman. Now, I would request the Secretariat to respond. I can see USA also wants to respond. USA, please.
Yes, thank you very much, and congratulations again on your election. I just want to take the opportunity to support the statement of Germany of having an earlier executive board meeting in January for all the issues that we need to discuss, and to provide sufficient time for this to be resolved and to have the discussions that we need to have before the next World Health Assembly.
Thanks, USA. I can see Israel also wants to comment. Israel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to take this opportunity and congratulate you on resuming your role, and also to express our respect and appreciation for the outgoing chair, Dr. Nakatani, for his dedicated work and leadership in the past year. All the best to him and to his family. Israel would also like to support Germany's proposal. So thank you very much.
style. I can see that UAE also wants to comment. UAE, please.
First of all, congratulations, Chairman, and thanks for Dr. Tadros. It is good to bring the meeting 1 week earlier. So let us see with the Secretariat what is suitable, either 1 week or 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thanks, UAE. Are there any more comments? So I would request Dr. Armstrong. Is there somebody? Russian Federation. I can see that Russia also wants to comment. Russia, please.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Российская Федерация хотели бы поздравить с назначением на должности и поддержать предложение Германии.
Thank you, Russia. Any other member wants to comment? Sudan. I can see Sudan wants to comment. Sudan, please.
Yes, first I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Chair, for your election as the chair for the upcoming EB, and to also show gratitude for Dr. Nakatani for his leadership as the previous EB chair. We'd like to support the proposal made by Germany, and Sudan would like to also support that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudan. I can see Ghana also wants to comment and respond. Ghana, please. Ghana, please. I understand that we are not connected to Ghana, so I request Qatar to respond. Here, Qatar.
Support the proposal given by the EU through the Germany official.
Thank you, Qatar. I can see Bangladesh also wanting to comment.
Okay, thank you for giving me the scope to say a few words. First, I express my best wishes to the outgoing Chairman, Dr. Nakatani, and best wishes for him. I congratulate Dr. Harshvardhan, Health Minister of India, on elected as the chair. I firmly believe under your able guidance and experience, WHO will reach new heights on important health issues of the world. I hope you would be able to contribute efficiently to face the current crisis of pandemic of coronavirus. And I am always, Bangladesh is in total support with the agendas that are being discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Bangladesh. I can see Colombia also wants to comment.
La propuesta de Alemania. Muchas gracias.
Australia wants to comment. Australia, please.
And can I just thank your colleagues and congratulate you in your appointment, and to thank our outgoing chair, Dr. Nakatani, for his great service to us. Mr. Chair, I wonder if it might be appropriate to ask the Secretariat for their advice on what is practical and feasible for them in preparing for this very important EB session. And there will be a lot of work required of them, not only during this session, but also in managing the review sessions of the World Health Assembly and EP later in this year. And if some account of that, maybe to have session 1 week earlier in the matter of January. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Australia. Burkina. I can see Burkina Faso wants to comment. Burkina Faso.
Oui, le Burkina Faso souhaiterait d'abord remercier le président sorti pour son leadership et pour la conduite des différents travaux. Et deuxièmement, féliciter le président entrant et souhaiter, avec ce que nous avons entendu dans son introduction, souhaiter que l'ensemble de ses rêves et de ses visions puissent nous accompagner pour que véritablement nous puissions aller de l'avant. Et troisièmement, je voudrais soutenir la proposition de l'Allemagne pour les raisons évoquées. Je pense qu'un peu plus de temps pour que le travail soit extrêmement bien fait et sachant également que le calendrier va être extrêmement rallongé vu les conditions dans lesquelles nous travaillons, et surtout que le point extrêmement important doit être fait sur la problématique du Covid. Nous soutenons donc fermement la proposition de l'Allemagne et je vous remercie.
Thank you. Now I request Tunisia to offer their comments, please. Tunisia.
Actuellement, ça va être une période très difficile et qui a besoin de la solidarité de tous nos pays ensemble. Nous devons travailler ensemble pour aider les pays les plus défavorisés. Et sincèrement, la proposition de l'Allemagne nous paraît raisonnable et nous la soutenons. Je vous remercie.
Yeah. Now I'll request Tajikistan to offer their comments. We can move forward to China. In the meantime, We can connect with Tajikistan also. We move forward to China, please.
我就向您主席当选为本届执委会的主席表示祝贺。中国支持德国代表的建议，于2021年1月召开下次执委会。谢谢。
Thank you, China. Tajikistan is back. Can we connect with Tajikistan? Or we move to Guyana? Acha, connect. So, Guyana. Guyana, please. Can we connect with Guyana?
Okay. Here we go. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Guyana wishes to congratulate you on the assumption of the chair and to thank the outgoing chair for his stewardship over the past year. With regards to the matter presently being discussed on the floor, Guyana expresses its willingness to have any adjustments made to the date proposed in keeping with the ability of the Secretariat to have the meeting done, whether it's a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Guyana. Now we have Gabon. Gabon, please offer your comments.
À vous remercier, Monsieur le Président, pour votre brillante élection à la tête du Conseil exécutif et en même temps remercier aussi mon cher ami le docteur Nakatani, grand serviteur de la santé, comme l'a dit le docteur Tedros, et avec qui nous avions eu beaucoup à échanger durant son magistère. S'agissant de la question qui est posée, Monsieur le Président, nous avions l'habitude de tenir nos réunions du Conseil exécutif, c'est vrai, de l'année vers le mois de janvier. Mais le contexte actuel, très difficile, exige que nous revoyions un peu le calendrier, eu égard notamment à la charge de travail que nous avions à faire et au dossier de la COVID, effectivement, qui est un dossier important et qui requiert que nous ayons un peu plus de temps. C'est dans cette optique que nous soutenons à ce que les dates qui ont été proposées soient revues pour nous permettre d'avoir un bon temps de travail, ce qui permettrait de faire en sorte que tout le monde y soit pleinement associé. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Gabon. I understand Finland also wants to join and comment. Finland, please.
for vice chairs and rapporteur. And I would also like to express my gratitude for Dr. Nakatani for excellent work during his chairmanship. Finland aligns herself with a statement made by Germany on behalf of European Union and its member states, and we support the proposal to organize the 148th Executive Board 2 weeks earlier in January 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Finland. Now we can request Tonga to comment.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, for the opportunity for the Kingdom of Tonga. I support what have been said, but for me, it's very important that we give WHO opportunity to give us their program of work for 2021, as that is a very important year, and then to make sure that WHO is ready for the EB, should it be held 2 weeks or 1 week earlier, and then to map it out well with the World Health Assembly, and of course other meetings that needs to be mapped out all together for 2021. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you, Tonga. Now we move on to Ghana, please. Ghana, for your comments. Coming. Next panel. By the time Ghana gets connected, we can move on to Romania.
Hello, thank you. First, I want to congratulate you, Dr. Vardan, for your election as chair of this EB, and also to congratulate Dr. Nakatani for his excellent work and leadership during our last session as EB. Romania fully supports the proposal of Germany on behalf of the European Union and its member states to organize the next EB, the 148th EB in January. Thank you.
Thank you, Romania. Do we have Ghana there? We can connect with Kenya now.
Thank you, Chair. Also, I want to congratulate you on your election as our new chair, and also I want to congratulate Dr. Nakatani for a job well done. Kenya also supports the position of Germany that we move forward the meeting to early January. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenya. Yes, once again requesting Ghana to connect. Your comments, please. So we had Austria. I can see Austria also wants to join.
Honorable Chair, I'm congratulate you to your new function here, and I'm proud to serve under your leadership. And I would also like to thank Dr. Nakatani for his wonderful chairmanship in the last session, and especially for his beautiful sense of humor, which made us the work really to enjoy. And of course, we are supporting the German proposal by having the meeting of the EB earlier in January 2021. Thank you very much.
Also wants to respond. India wants to comment. Many member nations were part of the executive board, and now I'll go back to the secretariat and request Dr. Timothy Armstrong. He has heard everybody, and let the secretariat offer its final comments on this particular subject.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you, Executive Board members, for your comments on the proposed dates for the 148th session of the Executive Board. I think we heard many member states that took the floor requesting that consideration be given to the dates of an executive board being 2 weeks earlier than is currently in the draft proposal before you. That would therefore indicate proposal for the board starting on the 18th of January, going till the 26th of January. However, we also heard from Australia, UAE, Guyana and others a request for consideration to having the board begin 1 week earlier, i.e. on the 25th of January. And Australia specifically asked what the implications for the Secretariat were in relationship to having a governing body meeting starting on the 18th of January. Before I answer that question, and thank you, Australia, for that question, I'd just like to recall that, of course, prior to the Executive Board in January, we will have a PBAC. So if the meeting were to start, the Executive Board meeting were to start on the 18th of January, that would predict a PBAC on the 15th, 16th and 17th. Now, Australia, yes, the turnaround time from the proposal that we heard earlier this week during the World Health Assembly for a resumed WHA in November would obviously make it a very tight turnaround in order for an executive board, an executive board to take place beginning on the 18th of January. I mean, frankly, I think it would be almost impossible for documents to be prepared by the Secretariat, then to go through the translation process to be before you, before a January 18 Executive Board. 1 week, I mean, it will make a difference if that is a consideration that the Executive Board would like to take forward in their thinking on the resume dates. However, having said that, we have heard very much member states requesting a starting date on the 18th to 26th, also a proposal from others for a date a week earlier, which would be the Executive Board starting on the 25th. So, Chair, I think maybe I'll hand the floor back to you and take your guidance, or whether you wish to consult again with the Executive Board members on the two dates now that are before us, the 18th or the 25th. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Armstrong. I have heard your final comments also. I think after hearing everybody, I feel that the proposal to start the Executive Board meeting from 18th to me seems a little better than the other one. But ultimately, I would say that I will leave it to the Secretariat in consultation with the DG WHO and other people at the headquarters. You can take a call on this issue. You have got the sentiments of the member nations now. But I would like to ask the members if there is any objection or any comment that you want to offer if the Executive Board meeting starts on the 18th of January. So, I see no objection. So, it is decided that we will meet for the next Executive Board meeting in Geneva on 18th of January 2021. Now we move on further. Does the board further agree that the Program, Budget and Administration Committee of the Executive Board should hold its 33rd meeting from Wednesday from 15th to 17th January? 13th. So I'll repeat once again. Does the board further agree that the Program, Budget and Administration Committee of the Executive Board should hold its 33rd meeting from 13th to 15th of January 2021 at the WHO headquarters? I see no objection, so it is also decided. So I see no objection, it is so decided. With regard to the second draft decision in paragraph 6 of document EB 147/10, does the board agree that the 74th World Health Assembly be held at the Palais des Nations in Geneva, opening on Monday 24th May 2021 and closing no later than Tuesday 1st June 2021? I see no objection. It is so decided. Does the board agree that the Program, Budget and Administration Committee of the Executive Board should hold its 32nd meeting from Wednesday 19th May to Friday 21st May 2021 at the WHO headquarters in Geneva? So it is about the 34th meeting. I can see no objection. It is so decided. With regard to the third draft decision in paragraph 6 of the document, does the board agree that in the event limitations on physical meeting preclude the holding of the 74th World Health Assembly, the 148th session of the Executive Board and the 33rd and 34th meeting of the Program, Budget and Administration Committee of the Executive Board in 2021, adjustments to the arrangements for these governing body meetings should be made by the Executive Board or exceptionally by the officers of the board in consultation with the Director General? I see no objection. It is so decided. So this concludes our consideration of agenda item number 8. Now we move to the last agenda item. This is about the closing session. Distinguished delegates, we have now come to the end of our agenda for the virtual session of the Executive Board. Before we end this session, let us consider the draft decision contained in paragraph 3 of document EB 147/12. Does the board agree to suspend the 147th session of the Executive Board and resume it at such date and either in Geneva or through such means to be decided by the Executive Board, or exceptionally, but the officers of the Board in consultation with the Director General. I see no objection. It is so decided. Does the Board also agree that all the items on the agenda that have not been considered at this virtual meeting will be considered by the Executive Board at the resumed 147th session? I see no objection. It is so decided. Distinguished delegates, before suspending the meeting, I would once again like to invite we go back to Tonga for their comments.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, WHO Director General, Your Excellencies. First of all, I would like to congratulate you, Chair, for the election of Chairperson of the Executive Board. Thank you, Dr. Nakatani, for your excellent chairmanship for the past year. On behalf of His Majesty's government, I'm honored to be elected as Rapporteur for the WHO Executive Board. I am committed to doing my best to ensure that all voices are listened to, recorded, and reported appropriately. I would like to congratulate WHO Secretariat and Member States for successful completion of our first virtual World Health Assembly, and a very special thanks to the DG, whose Tongan name is Vaito Hemoui Mapu Abaya, for dedicating your closing remarks to the Pacific and the Kingdom of Tonga and the Queen Salute School of Nursing. I thank all nurses and midwives and doctors for saving lives during these very difficult times. It was a historic assembly, and I was delighted to be one of the delegation, even though it started from 11 p.m. in Tonga. It was inspiring to see the emphasis on solidarity among many states and the great support to WHO. We are all in this fight together. We are in solidarity, and we can all get out of this together stronger. Given the current state of the art of our global situation, I fully support the special procedure to regulate the conduct of our virtual de minimis meetings of the Executive Board. I wish all nurses and midwives a safe and successful year 2020, International Year of the Nurse and the Midwife. Thank you very much. Merci, Malo Alpito, Honorable Chair.
We thank Tonga for their statement, and I would also like to request all other delegations, they may please post their comments on the website in the interest of time right now. So, distinguished delegates, before suspending the meeting, I would like to once again invite the Director General, Dr. Tedros, to say a few words. Dr. Tedros, you have the floor, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Dr. Harshvardhan. This is really a great start, your first session, and to a great start Thank you for your leadership. I would also like to thank all vice chairs elected today, and especially to the rapporteur, Dr. Amelia, my sister from Tonga. And thank you so much also for saying my name in Tonga very nicely. I will, it's very long, of course, but I will cherish that and I will use it. And thank you also to all board members for today's session, for your support, for your guidance, and look forward to working with you very closely. And we have new board members. I would also like specifically welcome to all board members to the new, and we would like to help you in any way possible to get up to speed. But thank you so much again from me for this very successful session, and again to new and previous board members, look forward to working with you closely, and thank you for your guidance and support today. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros, for your valuable guidance and support, and your promise of supporting the executive board in future also. We'll look forward to your advice on all occasions. And I would also like to finally thank all the member states, and more particularly the secretarial staff at the WHO headquarters for organizing this board meeting in a perfect manner with perfect precision, though in a virtual manner. So I think the whole meeting has been absolutely flawless, no communication gaps, and so many member nations could comment also. And once again, I would like to thank all of you for all your support, good wishes, and blessings. And on behalf of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji and all my countrymen, I have to thank all the members of the World Health Organization, the World Health Assembly, and all the members of the board also for reposing your faith in India. I can promise on behalf of my country that we will certainly live up to your expectations, and together we'll try to do the best in the larger interest of the health of the people of this whole world. And in the future years, we'll all strive together to achieve the long cherished goal that the World Health Organization had once promised to the whole world, that we'll have the health for all by the year 2000. I think we are in 2020, but I'm sure with commitment and sincerity of all our member nations, all health officials and doctors and planners and public health specialists and our WHO experts all over the world, we should be able to achieve what we have been dreaming for many, many years now. So with these final remarks, okay. So with an earnest desire to meet you in person very soon in the coming months in Geneva, I'll finally, before I close this meeting, I'll once again request Dr. Armstrong to finally read whatever draft he has to present to the executive board about the decisions taken today. And then we'll ultimately close this meeting with a big thank you to all of you. Dr. Armstrong, please.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Just to confirm that the Executive Board agreed to the following dates for the January Governing Body meetings. The PBAC 33 will be held from the 13th to the 15th of January 2021. EB 148 will be held on the 18th to the 26th of January 2021. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you once again. So we have decided all these things unanimously. I once again thank all of you and wishing you and people all across the globe through you good health, good luck, and I am sure God is going to shower us all his blessings for the future of the globe. And very soon we should be able to have a decisive win over the coronavirus also. With these prayers and with these good wishes, I now declare the 147th session of the Executive Board suspended. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
The whole world is saying namaste. Sir, तो veteran है.